Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan, and this is the start of my Magical Readathon reading vlog. Now, I am sure if you're watching this that you already know what the Magical Readathon is. If you don't, I will have the announcement video and all of the resources linked below because it is quite a complex readathon, and it's a month long, and it is based on the Harry Potter Owls and Newts exams that the students at Hogwarts have to take, which I'm not even super familiar with those in the books or the movies, but I've seen this readathon done by a ton of my favorite booktubers. So I wanted to participate. It is actually now Friday, April 10th. And the readathon starts April 1st and goes through the entire month of April. So I'm a little late in starting, but I'm pretty sure I can still participate if I'm just starting now. So I have my, all the papers here, which, yes, in depth. There are papers to go through and planning to do when you're participating in this readathon, which is super fun. But let me tell you what I'm thinking right now for my TBR. I will flip you around and show you. So again, there's a bunch of paperwork here that I printed out that show you all of the reading prompts. And essentially what you do is you choose a career in the magical world. And whatever career you choose, there are different classes or owls that you have to pass or exams you have to pass, and you do that by reading a book that fulfills each prompt. And so some of them are smaller, easier because they have fewer prompts, some of them are longer. So I've gone through and I actually did this, I think, a little bit backwards from what most people do. I think most people look through the careers, find what they want to do, look at those prompts, and choose books to fit those prompts accordingly. But what I did was wrote down all the prompts, and then I starred the ones that I think I could reasonably accomplish. So for example, this transfiguration prompt, you have to read a book that includes shapeshifting. And because I'm not a big fantasy reader, I don't know any books on my TBR, physically or not physically, that even include shapeshifting. So I don't think I can complete that prompt, and so I didn't star that. So there are a few here that I think I could reasonably complete. And then I went ahead and looked at the careers that include only those prompts. And I'm choosing one that way. So there are kind of two options here that I can pursue. So the first one is what I'm calling my ambitious career goal, and that would be to be a broom maker. And I know it's ambitious, but it's only 4 books, just because I have some other videos and books that I'm trying to read this month that don't fulfill prompts. But anyway, these are the 4 prompts within that career. And then my more backup one, easier to complete, is the seer, and so that only has 3 prompts and they're even a little bit easier. So let me walk through what books I've chosen. So the first one is arithmancy, and that has to read a book outside of your favorite genre. So like I just said, I'm not a fantasy reader, but I do own the book Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and so I have seen this as a super hyped book. I think I just picked it up because I've heard about it so much. A lot of people love it. And it's kind of appropriate for this readathon. As far as I know, it's kind of a retelling or reimagining of Harry Potter. And I'm interested in knowing what the hype is about, even though it's not my preferred genre. And I figure, if not now, then when. But it is quite chunky. It's something like over 500 pages. So that'll be tough to get through, but it looks somewhat easy to read. So that would be my book for something outside of my favorite genre. The next prompt is Charms, which is a book with a white cover, and for this I chose Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, which is a classic novel, dystopian kind of science fiction, and I read this book in high school, but I have not reread it since, and so I'm interested in doing that. The next prompt is Herbology, which is to read a book that starts with the letter M, and so I have chosen Middle Game by Seanan McGuire, which is another very popular, very hyped book here on BookTube. This is a science fiction kind of dystopian, I think, novel, something with people that have been created that aren't quite human, that are trying to become gods. I don't know much about it. If you've heard of it, it may have been from Kayla from Books and Lala, one of my favorite booktube channels. She absolutely loved it, and so I am expecting to absolutely love it as well. And then the 4th prompt here to become a broom maker is Muggle Studies, which is to read a contemporary novel, and for that I have chosen Beartown by Frederick Backman. This is a book about a town called Beartown that's a big hockey town, as you can see on the cover. Everyone here enjoys the sport of hockey. They love the hockey team, and one of the boys on the hockey team does something questionable, and it kind of divides the town into where the the people who live there have to decide whether they're going to back this boy who had done something bad or bring him to justice, which would, penalize the team. That is my, like I said, my ambitious TBR to get done this month. So 4 books. One of them's pretty short, but the rest of them are pretty long. But if I can't get that done, which is possible, then I'm going to rely on my backup career, which would be a seer, which the 3 prompts are here. So the first one, Ancient Ruins, is a book with a heart on a cover, which I would choose the book that I'm actually currently reading called Girls in Pants. This is the 3rd book in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series, and I'm actually reading all of these books for a video, which should already be up. But this book obviously has hearts all over it. There are hearts on the jeans. And I just started this yesterday, so I'm reading it all within April, so definitely fall within the rules of the Readathon. Second prompt, Astronomy, read a book while it is primarily dark outside. And for that, the easy way to do that would just be to complete my next book that I plan on reading after the 3rd book in the series is the 4th one. And since I primarily read right before bed, I already read mostly when it's dark out anyway. So this would be kind of an easy way to fulfill that prompt. And then the 3rd prompt here is divination, so to use a TBR random number generator. And my thought is to leave that one blank for now. And if I do end up needing this career as my backup, then on one of the last days of the month, I can just do this and pick a book then. So with all of that, as you can see, I'm not fully 100% decided on what books I'm going to read for the readathon. I really do want to get to those 4 ambitious books this month, but if I don't complete them, I still want to complete The Owls, and so I think those backup books will work just fine. So you will see in just a few minutes what ends up happening as I vlog this experience. Hi guys, quick video here. I'm clearly in the car. I'm actually going to pick up some pizza right now from Domino's because it is actually my husband's and my anniversary today. We've been married for 2 years, and since we obviously can't do much right now, we decided just to order pizza, have a little night in, and so I'm going to pick it up right now. And while I'm in the car, Domino's is like 15 minutes away from me, so I can get a good, 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back, that's 30 minutes, and on double speed, that's an hour. So I can get an hour of an audiobook done. And I'm deciding to go ahead and start with Carry On, which honestly is my most intimidating book for this readathon. Obviously, it's for the prompt for a genre that is not my favorite, and it's fantasy, and fantasy is not my favorite. Even though I do enjoy Harry Potter, I'm not like a Harry Potter fanatic, and as far as I know, Carry On is like a fan fiction or retelling or something for Harry Potter with a male-male romance, and I just don't know what I'm gonna think about it. But I thought I would let you know that I'm starting that book now on audio. I'll probably continue to listen to it on audiobook the whole way through unless I really start to dislike it. But even though I own the physical book, I think that this will help me get through it since it's not my favorite genre. So I'm excited to start it, but I'm nervous. I will let you know what I think when I have an update. Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday morning. I wanted to update because I am about 40% of the way through Carry On now. So I listened to it on my drive yesterday, I listened to it a little bit last night, and I've been listening to it a little bit more this morning. And I have to say, I don't get it. I just don't understand what it's supposed to be. If you have read it, if you know any of the answers to my questions I'm about to ask, please let me know. I am wanting to understand, because if on one hand, what I've heard is that it's basically another version of Harry Potter, and so all of the characters seem to have a direct correlation to one of the characters in Harry Potter, and the school seems to be the same, their powers seem to be the same, and I don't really understand how she can do that. It seems weird to me that you can just rip a story like that off, and even if it's better, I don't understand how it's allowed. It seems like you have to have that background knowledge of the world of Harry Potter and the relationships between all the characters in order to know what's even really happening, because there's not a lot of world building in this book or background information on the characters and their relationships. And they're talking about the last 5 years they've been in school, but obviously we're not reading about that. We're reading about the present in this book. And so far, I'm just not getting it. I'm also not a fan of like cutesy love stories, and I think that's kind of what this is going to turn out to be, is just one big, you know, hate to love romance, and that's just not my type of book at all, plus all the fantastical elements, plus my confusion about what the book is even supposed to be at its core. So it's not a great reading experience, but I'm listening to it on audio, so it's easy to have on while I'm doing chores, doing mindless tasks, so I will finish it, especially since it's going towards my owls, and I'll let you know if I have an update, but at this point, I'm kind of just confused. I don't get it. It's not for me. All right, it is end of the workday now, and I spent a little more time listening to the audiobook of Carry On today. So I'm probably about 50% of the way through the book now, and I'm understanding that the plot is different from Harry Potter. I get that. And vampires have been introduced, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think of myself as a vampire lover, so I'm not sure what to do with that. And I think I'm gonna put the book down for now, and tonight I think I'm gonna pick up actually an arc. Is it even a readathon if you don't switch up your TBR? This was not originally in my TBR, but it's a thriller. It's called Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and I have it on NetGalley, and its release date is next week, the 21st, which is not next week by the time I'm putting out this video. It's in the past, so it's already out, but whatever. I need to get that review out before the book is released, and it is a contemporary, or it's a thriller, which falls under the greater genre category of contemporary, and so I definitely will use that for the Muggle Studies prompt for the owls, which I was originally going to read Beartown for, but I think I'll put that off and read Little Secrets instead. And I've heard great things from some other booktubers that I love. I think that Jacqueline from Weeby Bookin and Jess from Reading with Jess both have read this book, really enjoyed it, and so I'm really excited to get to it. So I think that's what I'm going to read tonight. I also have a video to upload, a baby to take care of, all those other things, so who knows how far I'll get. But of course, I plan to update, so you will hear from me very soon. Had to go into work today for the first time in a while. I work with a group of like 5 other engineers, and we determined that it's probably best if at least one person is in the office every day, just in case, you know, someone needs you to go check on a measurement or something, and so we're rotating through. So I only have to go in about once a week, which is nice. And then when you're in the office, you're kind of the only one in like our little desk area, so you're not around people anyway in the factory. And so today was my day, and now the work day is over. I am about to drive home. My commute to and from work is about an hour each way, and so this quarantine has also been doing kind of a nice thing of cutting down on my commute, unintended perk, I guess. And I'm just about to drive home, and I decided to stop and get some Dairy Queen for dinner because I have honestly been missing fast food a little bit now that we're not driving anywhere, we're not going on road trips, we're not traveling. we're not getting fast food, and Dairy Queen is my favorite fast food place. In other news, it is snowing where I'm at. I think you can see that on camera, which is less than ideal, but I guess that is the unpredictable nature of the Midwest, which is where I live. Otherwise, I'll update you. So I have gotten about a third of the way into Little Secrets, and whew, so far, guys, it's a pretty heavy one. And it's good. I really like it so far. I hope that it goes in a direction that I like and not into a direction that I'm foreseeing, but we will see once I get there. What this thriller is about is this woman who one day when she's at like a shopping center, she loses her son, and I think he's like 5 years old or something. And that's the beginning scene. And let me tell you, that was tough to read. As someone who just recently had a kid, reading about someone losing their child and frantically searching for them and going to the police and having to go through all those steps to try and find their missing kid. And then they actually see on one of the security cameras the kid walking out holding a stranger's hand. That's intense. That's tough to read about. And then the book jumps into about 16 months later when the son still has not been found. The mom is kind of going crazy, and the mom's relationship with the dad is really strained now. Definitely tough to read about, but makes for a good setup for a thriller, I guess, because now we're just following the mom trying to figure out what's happening to, or trying to find her son, and also kind of trying to work on her relationship and maybe save that with the dad. But on the way home, I could listen more to the audiobook of Carry On, but I don't think I'm going to just because I don't feel like it. But I did want to film this update before I get on the road because I definitely don't want to vlog and drive in this nasty weather. Guys, it's Friday night. I just finished Little Secrets. I was really into that book. Wow, so kind of to repeat my thoughts for the beginning of the book, the opening scene was heartbreaking and got me super invested in the story. And as it went on, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with the actual mystery and the conclusion, and I wasn't surprised by most of the reveals, and I can't say that I guessed every single thing that happened, but it just wasn't surprising to me. And I love when thrillers just totally shock me at the end, even if there weren't clues, you know, to lead me there. I don't read thrillers to guess the endings, I read thrillers to be surprised. And so this one wasn't totally shocking, but I was still totally in it the whole time. The only other thing that I didn't love about it is that the cheating trope is abundant. And I hate reading about that. I just think it's unrealistic. I think that it's overdone, and I wish there was a different kind of cause for conflict between couples in thrillers. And so that I did not love, but overall I enjoyed my time reading it. I pretty much flew through it. I'm definitely interested in reading more from Jennifer Hillier. I know that Jar of Hearts is one that I've seen has a lot of really good reviews, but she does have other thrillers too. So I'm definitely interested in checking more out, and I will probably do that in the future. And I would recommend this one to fans of domestic thrillers. I probably am going to spend the rest of the night finishing the audiobook of Carry On. I think I have something like 3.5 hours left of it and listening to it on double speed, so I have like an hour 45 of that left. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated to finish Carry On, get that off my list, and then to get started on my other 2 books that I have remaining for my owls. Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday today, the 29th of April, I think, and I've got some stuff to update you on. So obviously it's the 29th of April, so I'm getting to the end. Wow, that didn't add any light at all. It's 7 a.m., so I guess that makes sense, but I have some updating to do. So the last time I checked in, I'm not sure. I think I had only finished Carry On and Little Secrets, so that's 2 of my 4 prompts done. And since I have talked to you, I have finished Middle Game. So Middle Game is a book that I have heard a lot about. I don't think I've heard any bad reviews when it comes to BookTube or BookTwitter. I've seen raving reviews for it, and on paper it sounds like exactly the type of book I would like. I love sci-fi, I love characters, I love that these two characters, you know, one is really math focused, I love that that's the girl, and one is very language focused. That sounds super interesting to me. And right away picking up this book, I was really enjoying it. And I listened to it on audiobook, actually via Audible, because I had a free trial going on for the 5th book in the Sisterhood series, and I knew that because Middle Game is quite the chunky book, I knew I would have to listen to it on audio if I wanted to finish it within the last like 4 days of the month or whatever. So that's what I did. And I'm really bummed to say that I did not enjoy it very much. I gave it 3 stars, so I still did enjoy it. My favorite parts were the beginning parts between Roger and Dodger when they're kind of figuring out their special gifts that each of them have and their connection to each other. That was really interesting to me. I didn't really care much about the alchemists, about, you know, them in history or what they're trying to do or any of the other twins that were created, anything like that. I just didn't care. And same with when Roger and Dodger, their story progressed. I cared less and less, to be honest, which is really sad. So I gave it 3 stars. I am super glad to know what all the hype is about now. When I looked on Goodreads, I saw a lot more mediocre and bad reviews for the book than I had been seeing, so it's not quite as inflated as maybe I had thought, but my thoughts are sadly mediocre. So done with Middle Game, and I just realized I don't think I've talked about what Middle Game is about at all. So it follows Roger and Dodger, who are these twins who are separated. They don't know that they're twins, but when they're young, they start to have this connection with each other where they can actually communicate through their minds. And they have no idea why they can do that or what it means. And so they kind of go through their childhoods with this connection and using it to like help each other on homework and stuff like that. And it's revealed that they were created by an alchemist who is trying to get them to achieve godhood, and it kind of goes off from there. You learn a lot more about the alchemist and his history, and as well as Roger and Dodger as they grow up and how they kind of find out who they are and what they're supposed to do. So again, it sounds like something I would love, but unfortunately, just average. It is the 29th today, so I have today and tomorrow only to finish my last book, which is Brave New World, which is not in this room, but I have started it. I think I'm like 60 or 70 pages in, and I think it's like 250 pages long or something. So I am well on my way. I'm hoping to finish that today. Brave New World, if you're not familiar, is like a classic dystopian book, and it is about not too far into the future world where people can create like test tube babies basically, and they figured out how to take the best genes and make babies and mass produce them. So there's no more reproducing, you know, just with a mom and a dad. It's all in a lab, and I can't remember where the book goes from there, but that's kind of just what we've established now is that system. And it's interesting so far. I actually talked to my husband about this book and found out that he did not enjoy it very much at all. So I think that might be kind of tainting my enjoyment of it too, but I'm trying to keep an open mind. I remember reading the book in high school, but I honestly remember absolutely nothing about it. The plot did not ring any bells. So I'm kind of approaching it with fresh eyes, and I'm excited to get into it. So I will check in when I have finished that book, and then again probably to wrap up the whole readathon. Hi guys, I am back, and I have some very exciting news, which is that I have finished my owls. It is May something right now. I don't even know the date. One of the first few days in May. So obviously April is over. I have not vlogged in a few days, but I finished all of my books for the owls within April, within the rules. So I am officially a broom maker. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up all the books now. The last clip I think you saw was me reading Brave New World in the car because my husband and I went up to North Dakota this past weekend to see his family. Both of us are from North Dakota, and his parents and his family still lives there, and they haven't seen us or Krista for a couple months, so we definitely wanted to do that now that restrictions have lightened up a little bit. We still, you know, practice social distancing. We didn't go out or do anything. We just saw his family, which was really, really nice. And while in the car for the 7+ hours that the drive is up to North Dakota, I read Brave New World and I finished it. Brave New World, if you are not familiar, is a classic kind of dystopian book. It follows some people who are navigating kind of relationships, although in this world you're encouraged to actually, I guess, kind of sleep around. Monogamy is not the way they do it anymore, and so it's very different, and a couple of the characters go to what we are supposed to assume, I think, is an Indian reservation in the US, and on that reservation they still do things the old-fashioned way where you know, they still get married, they still have kids and get pregnant themselves, and it's very different. And one of the characters is kind of questioning whether their new world is the right way to do things, or if maybe those on the reservation have it more figured out. And to be honest, this book didn't do a whole lot for me. I do remember reading this in high school, and I think I enjoyed it then, probably because I was able to dig a little bit more into it, and you know, you have a teacher to kind of help you understand some of those deeper themes and things. But for me, just reading it kind of on an enjoyment, rating it on an enjoyment level, I didn't get a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. And when comparing it to a lot of the dystopian books that I read now, it's not as good, definitely not. And maybe you're not supposed to look at it that way because it is a classic. You're supposed to respect it for its time and look at it for its time. But I feel like if I'm recommending it to someone, I want it to still hold up now, and I just didn't think that it was all that good. So I only rated it 2 stars. If you are a fan of Brave New World, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because I don't think it's an objectively bad book. It just wasn't something that I really enjoyed reading, even though it was pretty short and I flew through it. It just didn't really do anything for me. I'm probably not going to be thinking about it too far into the future. So let's see, I have my handy dandy owls paper here to show me all the owls I needed to complete in order to become a broom maker. This book fulfilled the charms prompt, which was to read a book with a white cover, and Brave New World has a primarily white cover, so check. Let's see, going back to the first book I read, as you know, was Carry On, which was for the arithmancy owl, which was with the prompt of to read a book outside of your favorite genre. And this is fantasy, and I do not read a lot of fantasy at all. I do not usually like it, so maybe it was a bad call to pick up a book that I didn't expect to like, but it's on my shelves. I did want to get it done. And unfortunately, I did not enjoy this one either. As you have already seen my thoughts, just not the book for me. Again, not objectively a bad book. I just didn't get it, and so I gave it 2 stars, and we're gonna move right along. The next prompt, herbology, is to read a book that starts with the letter M, and for that I read Middle Game, which was a super, super highly anticipated book for me. And unfortunately, I only gave it 3 stars. I think I've already told you all my thoughts on it. I appreciate what it is and what it did and how complex it was. And on paper, it sounded perfect for me, but it just wasn't. That's okay too. And then the other book I read was Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, which was an ARC that I read on my iPad from NetGalley. And this fulfilled the prompt of Muggle Studies, which was to read a contemporary book. And this one I probably liked the best out of all of them, actually. I only rated it 3 stars, but it's the one that I really just wanted to finish, and I was actually excited to continue reading it. And although the ending of it did not satisfy me and I predicted it, I still generally enjoyed the book. So with that, I have finished my owls, and I am officially a broom maker. Actually, I guess I'm not officially a broom maker. I think I have to wait till finishing the newts to do that. I don't know. You guys can let me know. I'm new to this readathon, but I'm excited to do the newts in August to become officially a broom maker. And I don't think I have much else to say, so I will wrap it up here. So thank you for watching this vlog, my second reading vlog. I think I'm getting the hang of it a little bit more now, but I'm excited to do more in the future. Let me know how your owls went, if you're planning on doing the newts in, is it August? I'm not sure, but that is it. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.